What happens when you have a fig tree that has been on your property for 13 years, that has never ripened main crop, and drops all of its breva? And the year that I convert this into a Frankenfig tree, it decides to one-up me by showing me two breva. And now these are ripe, and we are going to try to figure out together what this fig is.
Here's a professionally made but unnecessary intro. So let's talk about figs. Let's talk about figs.
Well, I'm up in a ladder, up in my tree, and you may be asking, figologist, what are you doing? Well, this is my Frankenfig tree, and if you go back, and I'll link the video below, this is a giant unknown tree, and it never produced figs that were edible. It was here on my property before I came, so I started grafting on it. This one is a De La Plata, and this electrical tape, this is the graft. I put a dowel rod across it once it took, and look at this, it has a fig. So that's kind of cool that this went in, I think, March or April, and we're on August 18th, and there's a main crop on a graft. There's another little one up here. So that's the power of grafting, is I'm harnessing the engine of this massive tree. But what was curious is it's giving me native fruit for the first time. One of them is not as ripe, but this one is ripe. So we're gonna take this off. And all of you figologist viewers, you are gonna help me figure out what this fig is. It's very ripe. Let's go check it out. And then I'll show you the leaf, because you might want to know the leaf structure as well, but this is kind of what they look like. They all pretty much look like this. Let's go take a look and see what our unknown fig is, and with the power of crowdsourcing, we're going to try to figure out. Well, this one's going to be a little different because I have a fig and I don't know what it is. And if you go back, you can watch how I converted this giant tree in my yard into a graft engine, and a lot of those grafts have taken, and I'm really excited. But it then decided to show me up by putting a couple of native figs on here. And when we first moved into our property, this was labeled by the previous owner as a Latarula. That is not the case, because it is not a honey fig. This fig most definitely was purchased from One Green World here in Portland, likely 15 plus years ago. So what I need everyone to do is to look at the previous leaf shape that I showed earlier. I'll show you another little snapshot here, and let's figure out what this thing is. So fairly closed eye, maybe a day underripe, but it's pretty darn soft all the way up to right about there. There is one more hanging, so if we need additional information. But I want to put this across like every Facebook page. I want everyone to come up with what they think is a likely candidate. This includes you, One Green World, since this is your fig. It has basically dropped every breva ever up until this year, and it never ripens main. It sets a lot of main, but they're all rock hard, and it's like November and they don't ripen. So let's take a look. Let's do our due diligence, and let's get the weight first. Not in pounds. All right, so this weighs 39 grams. So kind of mid-sized fig. All right, let's take a look. And I guess I'll just take the top off and fling that first, and then just come right down the middle. See what this is. Okay, so that's what we're looking at. I'm gonna zoom in here for you. Yeah, a little bit thick. Probably should have. I'm just so excited to try to figure out what the hell this thing is. Let me load the Brix meter and get a sense. That's pretty liquidy there. So we'll load that up. I'm gonna now cut off the very unripe stem and fling that off. This will go to my family and see if they can help with the profile of taste. But let's take a taste of the I don't know what you are and see if we can figure this out as a team.
Nobody wants to hear gross sounding fig chewing into a microphone.
Okay. So if you blinded me and you put that fig in my mouth, from the flavor profile, I would say this is a Desert King. It is clearly not a Desert King. It has the same sweetness, the same melony, basically melony. Watermelon, a little honeydew. It's very pleasant. It's not as watery as Desert King. It's syrupy, no seed crunch, delicate skin, very little chew, at least the bite I had. It's a very pleasant fig. So that would be my best approximation of like the flavor profile. It is time to play Guess That Brix. And so this was a 19 or 20. Oh, look at me go. So it's sweet. It's not punch in the mouth horrible sweet like LSU Tiger was, but it's sweet. So team, help me figure this out, because it's a late, I mean, this is a 15-year-old plus tree. It is probably 15 feet high. I have very aggressively pruned it in preparation for all the 50 plus grafts I put on this thing this year, which most likely stimulated this thing to grow. And I want to put more grafts on this thing in the spring. So if I can figure out what this thing is, and it turns out to be something I don't really care about, I don't feel bad sacrificing the potential native fruit producing potential of this particular fig. So ask questions in the comments, get more, if you need more information, let me know. And I'll be really curious to see what y'all think this thing is. So let's put our heads together. I almost said put our tongues together, but that doesn't sound right at all. Let's figure that out and help me. Bye.